We had a business model when we first started with Reopco that agents would come in and produce, and we took care of everything. Like they just came in and produced. And so the tough thing, this is a big lesson for me, when the market crashed in 2008 and everyone stopped producing, I was still working 60, 70, 80 hours a week because I had to cover all the costs associated.
And they could wait the storm out because it wasn't costing them anything.
Didn't cost them anything.
So they can just kind of hang out until the market kind of bounces back or take what they can get. But those bills were still there and had to be paid regardless of whether that happened or not. So yeah, it was easy for the individuals to stay in business, but the brokerage couldn't stay in business like that.
Yeah. And so then there was no built-in incentive to produce. So you felt like there was a change. There had to be a built-in incentive at that point.
Yeah. And I got to a point where I was like, I remember demanding to change.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
it was tough at the beginning, but I got out of it. Now I'm back in that spot now.
Yeah. Well, it's just a motivation. It's a different motivation. Like you're either working for somebody else or you're working for yourself. And you're leveraging. And then that was a partnership at that point instead of one person making money off of the other.
But I also think that that's a huge reason how you became so successful years down the line is a lot of brokers, they come and they go. They come in and they don't have the money to sustain that. And they can't, they can't get their name out there. They don't have enough money to be every single place they need to be on every single, Zillow and buy some stuff on realtor.com and maybe some print ads and maybe have a website. And, that takes money. So being able to piggyback on somebody else's until you've established your name can be huge. I mean, I'm all for it with a new broker. There came a point where you just became incredibly successful on your own. You didn't necessarily need that anymore. And you were getting business because of who you were. And I think that's when it switches over. And then, teams no longer benefit you in that way anymore.
So you grow out of the position, essentially.
Well, and usually in typical teams, I don't think the growing out, well, they don't usually change like we did. They usually leave the team.
Yeah.
Or go on their own.
Yeah.
Or leave a whole brokerage. We see that a lot and try to start up their own brokerage.
Yeah. And I think for our audience, this is fascinating for them probably in the sense that you have people that have never been in real estate that are buyers and sellers that watch the show. And then you have realtors. And so this is kind of peeling back the layer of what you experience because there's a lot of confusion out there. I mean, Aspen, do you experience some confusion from customers on like who's working what and who am I supposed to talk to? And with bigger teams, do people just get handed off? Clients get handed off? And what are some of those things that come to mind?
The only thing that I think people get confused about is people think you are my boss. They don't know that we are with Remax. You're not my boss. We just split costs. Same for at the other, I don't think it was really a thing at my other brokerage, but I've noticed some other teams in town, they look like they are the brokerage. Yep. So I think that can be confusing because team leads do not have to be qualifying brokers. Now, I happened to be whenever I was doing it, but I was also helping because I was the first person at the last brokerage I was at, loved that brokerage, but I was the first person in really working in and living in New Mexico. And so they moved down here because they were mainly in Durango and I was in both states. And so that's why I chose them. And then it ended up being great and I loved it. And then we grew it pretty big just in 5 or so years that I was with them. But I think that's confusing for people is thinking that they are the team lead is the qualifying broker or the boss in the business. I think that's the biggest confusion. But as far as who's doing what, I've never had any issue with it, even whenever Shannon was doing transaction coordinating for me, or I had another person that was my assistant at my last brokerage. I never had people confused about who they should talk to because I feel like we were really good about sending like an introductory email of like, CC us both, but call me if you need anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things that I hear from customers all the time is like, if I work with you, are you going to hand me off to somebody else on your team?
Right. People are starting to get used to that happening and they don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that happen to me. It was fine. It ended up being fine, but I wasn't expecting it. Mm-hmm. Didn't love it.
Yeah. Well, what was the example? What happened?
Well, I was just selling my house and buying another one. And the person who was on the buy side was not who I had hired to sell my house. It was one of their associates. So it was just a little, it ended up being totally fine, but I wasn't aware that kind happen.
Yeah. It was kind of took you off guard.
Because I didn't know her. It's not who I thought I was going to be working with, but
yeah, because a lot of people come into this and they go, I want to sell my house and I want to work with you. And then they start working with that person, and then they get handed off to this person, and then they're being contacted by this person, and they're like, what's going on? Like, if there's no fluidity there, that is a definitive channel of communication. Like, here are the people and the roles. It can be very confusing to clients in general. I think that's one of my biggest heartburns with the big teams, is that you get handed off oftentimes, and that's not good for customer service. We've set what we do up, and we'll get to that in a minute, but where we have as much face-to-face contact with our customers as possible, because that's our role.
Yeah. Well, I even try when I'm doing TC work for anybody in this group, I always try to I stay quiet. I send an email or reach out where I need to, but I never try to be the first point of contact. I mean, if somebody hired you, they want you, they trust you, they're confiding in you, you know everything about them. You know, if I'm just helping on the back end and I'm just doing some paperwork and stuff, they don't need to, if they want to call me and they need some help, I'm more than happy to help them through that. But I never make them feel like, well, Ben is busy today, so we're going to do, X, Y, Z. Yeah. I don't ever want anybody to feel like you're not who they hired.